Hey y'all, it's Ricky T. I'm coming to you from the Taylor Plantation here in beautiful Beech Grove, Indiana on a nice, fairly breezy night. Dog's getting ready to walk by. I hope he doesn't knock me over here, and I'm adjusting this as we go. Tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about tariffs, what's going on currently with tariffs, the so-called trade war, which I say so-called, I'll explain that in a minute. That's going to be a fairly quick conversation. Hopefully this will be not as long of a video. So I do have a couple of other things real quick that I do want to mention to you before we get into the tariff discussion. So first of all, yeah, you know I spit a lot. As you all know, I like to smoke my cigars. Tonight what I got for me, I'm going to put it up here. We've got a Macanudo Cafe Crystal. This cigar was given to me by my Uncle Rusty. So I want to give a big shout out to my Uncle Rusty. Yo, what's up? Thank you. Just real quick, this, actually, Rusty, I don't know if you know this, this is the #1 selling cigar in the United States of America. I've been smoking this for about 30 minutes. Very first one I've ever smoked, and I am enjoying it. There's several reasons why this is the #1 selling cigar in America. Number one, it's a light cigar, but yet it's flavorful, which is rare. Normally a light cigar doesn't have much, if any, flavor, and that's the reason most experienced cigar smokers don't smoke light cigars very often. But this one is light, but yet it does have flavor. So this cigar really appeals to a lot of audiences. This is the go-to cigar if you're a beginner cigar smoker and you're wanting to get into the hobby. This is a great one to start out with. This is also another great cigar if you're not a cigar smoker, but you're going to grab a cigar to smoke for a special occasion, just because it's light and it's easy to smoke. This is a great cigar if you're buying a bunch of cigars to give away for a special event or for whatever reason. You know, you had a baby, whatever the occasion may be, a wedding, whatever. This is a great one because it's an easy smoke for everybody, even if you're not a cigar smoker. It's also one of the handful of light cigars that experienced cigar smokers smoke. If you guys watch my videos, you will notice most of the cigars I smoke, as you look at this one, and it's kind of hard to tell on the screen, this is a very light colored wrapper. And you guys will notice most of the other cigars I'm smoking have more of a dark brown wrapper. They're more of a medium to full body. But if you can find a light body cigar that also has flavor, it's a great kind of alternative, kind of a mix it up kind of a cigar. You're used to smoking the stronger ones. This is a good kind of change of pace. That'd be the best way to say it. A good change of pace cigar. So, great cigar. I'm enjoying it. It's my first one. I'm enjoying it. Also, before we get to the tariffs, just real quickly, my Uncle Rusty, who gave this to me. So my Grandma Kate and my Grandpa Russell, that was Rusty's parents. And so back in the day, they were in the television business. And back in the day, like in the 70s and 80s and even before that, televisions was like the most prestigious piece of furniture you had in your house. You know, great woodworking on them, just beautiful. So when your TV broke, you didn't replace it. You went and you got it fixed. And so my grandparents, their shop, they sold used TVs and they fixed TVs. And my Uncle Rusty was the guy who fixed them. Or when my grandfather would buy the TVs that needed to be fixed that he would resell, Uncle Rusty was the guy who fixed them. Well, in my preteen, teen years, especially in the summertime when school was out, I spent a lot of time at the TV shop over in Fountain Square on the corner of Prospect and State. It's a karate place right now. So anyway, I would spend a lot of time there with my grandma. Just loved her so much. Spent a lot of time with her. She'd have me sweeping the parking lot and dusting the TVs, and I'd get paid $10 a day. It was, you know, $10 a day. That was like the early 80s. But I did get all the coffee I could drink, and usually she'd have me walk 3 or 4 blocks to the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and she'd buy me what she used to call the 3-piece snack pack. I still remember that. It was just some of the greatest memories of my life. Well, as a result of that, I hung out with my Uncle Rusty a lot. I'd be in the back room hanging with him, and I always thought like he was the coolest dude ever because, you know, he always dated the pretty girls, and he always had a cool sports car, and I just thought he was just a cool dude, you know. And even to this day, we still talk on the phone. We still hang out from time to time. We've gone to a bunch of Pacer games together. And so I'm just thinking about you a lot, Rusty, as I smoke this. I just want to let you know, man, you know, I love you. You're just a special person in my life, and I just want you to know that. All right. So, boom, I'm done with all that. Tariffs. Let's talk about tariffs. So first, let's go into the history to get us up to the present so we can talk about what's going on now. You got to understand what got us here before we can really understand where we are now. So I'm going to take it back to the 90s. It kind of goes back even further than that, but in the 90s when Clinton was president, that's when they did what was called NAFTA, N-A-F-T-A, North America Free Trade Agreement. Now when that was first being discussed, I was very pro NAFTA. And to this day, I'm still pro what it originally was. Well, what happened with NAFTA is what happens with a lot of bills in Congress, and that is you've got the original bill, and then after it goes through the House and they make changes, and then it goes through the Senate and they make changes, and it goes back and forth, back and forth. By the time it gets to the president's desk, it's a completely different bill than what it originally was. And what it ended up being by the time it got signed isn't even what the name of it is. The name of it is North American Free Trade Agreement. Free trade would mean, so North America, that would be Canada, United States, Mexico. The idea of the bill was the 3 countries could import, export goods amongst the 3 countries, free trade, no tariffs going either way. Well, the way it ended up was, because we've had weak leadership with Clinton, Bush, Obama, Bush, so you got 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, all 4 of them pretty much sucked. I'm not a party zealot. They all pretty much sucked. I will say Clinton did do some good stuff, and Bush the elder did some pretty good stuff, but overall I think all 4 of them were weak presidents. And they were all really weak on trade. So what ended up happening was stuff coming into the United States was coming in free, no tariffs. However, when the United States wanted to export, the other countries were charging us a tariff, which is totally unfair. And it totally goes against the whole free trade deal. And so even today, for example, Mexico, it's a 72.4 billion, that's billion with a B, deficit. So they're collecting 72 point something billion dollars a year on stuff we export into their country. When they bring it into our country, it's free. So that's where Trump comes into the picture. He's president, he says, this is stupid. These are some terrible deals. I'm gonna fix it. Well, Trump is actually a free trade guy. He wants free trade. And you're saying, well then why is he doing all these tariffs? And I'm getting to that. So Trump started out with talking to these leaders saying, hey, what's up? You know, we're letting you bring your stuff into our country for free, but you're charging us. You guys got to knock it off, and you guys got to let us have free trade if you want us to let you have free trade. And they said no, because why wouldn't they? They're getting a great deal. So Trump has done really the only thing that he can do to solve the problem. He still wants free trade, but the only way to make it happen is to say, if you're going to continue to put tariffs on us, we're going to put tariffs on you. Now, typically tariffs don't work, and a lot of people, even people who are typically Trump supporters, are saying this is a bad idea, we're going to get in a trade war, it's going to screw the economy, yada, 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 yada. And so theoretically, that is typically true. But in this case, the way it's being done, my belief, and so far it's playing out so far to look like it's working, is it works in this case because Right now, the United States economy is the best it's ever been, at least in 30 years, if not ever. I'm gonna take my sunglasses off. The sun's going down. So we've got a great economy going on right now. We've got we've got more jobs than Coffee. We've got more jobs than we have people to fill them. Just a great economy. Whereas the other countries, their economy isn't doing as great. So we're in a position right now to where if we raise tariffs on them, it's going to hurt their economy more than it's going to hurt ours. It's going to bring them down financially way quicker than it's going to bring us down. So this is the perfect time to do it. And so we're already kind of seeing some things happening. Some stuff with China is kind of working. We're not quite there yet. Just this weekend, we got a deal done with Mexico where we threatened to raise tariffs if they didn't stop immigrants coming through Mexico into our border. You're already, the deal has been done. Over the last couple of days, you're seeing the Mexican government arresting illegal immigrants from Central America coming into their country. So far, it tends to be working. And so it can only work because our economy is doing so good. And other countries' economies are not doing as good. And again, it's going to cause their economy to fall before it causes our economy to fall. Now there could be some short-term pain for us, but unfortunately, the situation has gotten to the point to where the only way we can fix it, because at least the last 4 presidents have done such a terrible job, that the only solution is something that could cause some short-term suffering, some short-term issues for us. But luckily, our economy is doing so well, we should easily be able to weather that storm much better than the other countries that we are potentially putting the tariffs on. So basically, I told you that the tariff talk was going to be pretty quick. Basically, that's what's going on. I typically am not a tariff guy, but I understand the only reason that we're putting the tariffs on is so that once it starts causing problems for the other countries' economies, they'll say, okay, game off, we'll bring our tariffs down if you bring yours down, and this is the way we're going to get to free trade. We got to raise theirs up to where they have ours so they can suffer, and then they're going to have to relent, and when they relent, we'll relent, and it'll eventually get us to free trade. That's the theory. I think it can and should work if it's done correctly. So far it looks to be working, but we'll see. All right, that's my take. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you disagree, if you agree, if you have comments, anything, let me know. Put your comments in, and maybe it'll start a debate. Maybe it'll start a conversation. I love to have the intelligent conversations. So that's what I got for you. Y'all know I love you. And as always, God bless America.